Monday's General Hospital episode is not about explosions or public confrontations. It is about fractures. Quiet ones. The kind that form beneath relationships, alliances, and institutions until everything suddenly gives way. Nearly every storyline this day revolves around a single idea. People acting in secret because they no longer trust the systems or the partners they are tied to. And once secrecy becomes the default, consequences follow fast. At the center of this episode are 4 pressure points. Chase and Brook Lynn's unresolved conflict about family. Jason and Britt's sudden breakup that feels engineered rather than emotional. Carly's growing suspicion that Brennan is not who he claims to be. And Anna's disappearance, which has started to look less like a sanctioned mission and more like an abduction disguised as protocol. When you connect these threads, a larger picture starts to form. Power is being quietly consolidated by people operating in the shadows, while those who value honesty are left reacting too late. Let's break this down carefully, because the implications are serious. Chase and Brook Lynn, when unresolved resentment turns to sabotage. Chase's potential outburst does not come out of nowhere. It is the product of long-suppressed frustration that Brook Lynn has not truly addressed. Her refusal to consider adoption again is not just a logistical decision. It is a statement about control over her future, and Chase hears that statement very clearly. The core issue is Geo. Brook Lynn already has a child with Dante, even if the circumstances around that child are complicated. From Chase's perspective, Brook Lynn has already experienced motherhood. She has crossed a line that Chase himself has not. So when she says she does not want to adopt, Chase likely interprets this as rejection, not of adoption, but of him. This is where Chase's anger becomes dangerous. Not because he is violent, but because anger makes people impulsive. There is a strong possibility that Chase feels he is living in someone else's shadow. Dante has a permanent tie to Brook Lynn that Chase can never erase. That imbalance eats away at him. This emotional gap opens the door to secrecy. If Chase believes Brook Lynn will never meet him where he needs her to, he may decide to meet those needs elsewhere. That brings us to the most explosive hypothetical theory, Chase and Willow. Is there confirmation of an affair? No, but the groundwork is there. Emotional vulnerability, resentment, a sense of being overlooked. If Chase does cross that line, it would likely be done quietly, framed in his own mind as a momentary escape rather than betrayal. But secrets like that never stay contained. More importantly, if Chase does decide to end things with Brook Lynn in secret, that choice alone is revealing. It suggests he is no longer seeking resolution. He is seeking control over the narrative. And that tells us this relationship is already past the point of repair. Jason and Britt, a breakup that does not add up. Britt ending things with Jason feels abrupt because it is. Jason does not respond with anger. He responds with confusion. And that is key. Jason understands sacrifice. He understands choosing others over romantic partners. If Britt's only reason was Carly, Jason would accept that, even if it hurt. But Jason senses something else. Britt's explanation is incomplete. Britt claiming Jason prioritizes Carly could be true on the surface, but it feels like a convenient cover. Jason likely suspects Britt is being pressured. That instinct pushes him into investigation mode. Jason does not confront Britt aggressively. Instead, he watches. He listens. And when Jason investigates, he usually uncovers something deeply unsettling. This is where Cullum enters the picture. Hypothetically, Cullum being behind these events would explain the suddenness of Britt's decision. If Britt is being coerced, the breakup becomes an act of protection rather than rejection. Protection of Jason, or possibly protection of herself. Jason investigating Cullum would put him on a collision course with a much larger conspiracy. If Cullum is manipulating Britt, that means Britt is not acting independently at all. She is a pawn, and Jason discovering that would not just reignite the relationship. It would turn Jason into an enemy Cullum did not anticipate. This is not a love story anymore. It is a power struggle disguised as one. Carly and Brennan, the moment trust shifts. Carly discovering something unexpected is not surprising. Carly's strength has always been pattern recognition. She notices inconsistencies long before others do. The question is not whether Brennan is hiding something. The question is which secret finally tips Carly over the edge. One possibility is Brennan's connection to Britt. If Carly overheard a private conversation, that alone would raise alarms. Carly understands alliances. She understands when people coordinate behind closed doors. If Brennan and Britt share a secret, Carly will immediately assume strategic intent. Another possibility is Jocelyn. If Carly learns that Brennan removed Jocelyn from her position at the WSB, that becomes personal. Carly tolerates danger, but she does not tolerate unilateral decisions that affect her family. That action would force Carly to reassess Brennan entirely. Carly's conversation with Jason is especially important. When Carly shares what she overheard, she is not gossiping. She is alerting Jason to a possible threat vector. Jason already suspects Britt's breakup is engineered. Carly's information would confirm that suspicion. This is how alliances form quietly. Carly and Jason do not announce their investigations. They share information and let conclusions emerge naturally. If Brennan and Britt are indeed working together, possibly under Cullum's influence, Carly and Jason are already 2 steps behind. And they know it. That realization changes behavior. It makes Carly less trusting, more strategic. And Brennan may soon find himself facing a version of Carly that does not play defense. Pascal and Anna, when a mission becomes a disappearance. Pascal's trip is framed as routine, but nothing about Anna's situation feels routine anymore. The idea that Anna has been on a prolonged WSB mission strains credibility. Emma sees that clearly. And Emma's skepticism matters because she is emotionally invested, not politically constrained. Pascal possibly drugging Anna introduces a disturbing shift. If Anna is being induced into hallucinations, that means someone wants to control not just her location, but her perception of reality. That is not containment. That is psychological manipulation. Moving Anna from Windermere to another holding location would confirm this is no longer about operational secrecy. It is about isolation. Whoever is responsible does not want Anna found, and they especially do not want her communicating. This raises an uncomfortable question. Is Anna considered a liability rather than an asset? And if so, who made that determination? If Pascal is acting on orders, those orders did not come from a place of trust in Anna. They came from fear of what Anna might expose. Jocelyn at Windermere, disobedience with consequences. Jocelyn showing up at Windermere is a clear violation of protocol. She knows she should not be there. Brennan has sidelined her. But Jocelyn goes anyway because she believes information matters more than permission. Her true goal is Lucas. She is not visiting out of concern. She is extracting intelligence. And that is dangerous because Jocelyn is not protected right now. She is operating without cover. Ava's suspicion is immediate and justified. Ava understands when people show up with hidden motives. Jocelyn's silence does not reassure Ava. It confirms something is off. This puts Jocelyn in a precarious position. She is acting like an agent without the institutional backing of the WSB. If she is caught, no one is obligated to protect her. And that could have serious consequences, especially if Windermere is tied into the same network holding Anna. Jocelyn may believe she is helping, but she may also be walking directly into the center of the storm. Emma and Nathan, the first crack in the official story. Emma going to the police is not emotional overreaction. It is logical escalation. She refuses to accept vague explanations about Anna's absence. And she is right to do so. Her request that Nathan investigate quietly shows maturity. She understands that official channels may be compromised. Nathan agreeing, despite not knowing where to start, signals his own doubt. Emma pointing Nathan toward Brennan is significant. Brennan being the last known contact with Anna makes him the logical starting point. But it also makes him the most dangerous one. If Nathan follows this lead, he is likely stepping into a conflict far larger than he expects. And once law enforcement becomes involved, containment becomes harder for whoever is pulling the strings. Conclusion: the stakes are quietly escalating. This episode is about people realizing they can no longer rely on surface explanations. Chase feels emotionally displaced. Jason senses manipulation. Carly sees hidden alliances. Emma rejects official narratives. And Jocelyn acts without authorization because she no longer trusts the system. All of this points to a coming reckoning. Secrets are stacking up, and secrets always collapse under their own weight. The most likely outcome is convergence. Jason's investigation into Britt and Cullum. Carly's suspicion of Brennan. Nathan's inquiry into Anna's disappearance. These paths are not separate. They're moving toward the same center. Hypothetically, the person or group controlling these events believes they are still invisible. But visibility is not the danger. Exposure is, and that moment is approaching. When it comes, relationships will shatter, loyalties will be tested, and the truth will no longer be containable. The question is not who will be exposed. It is who will be standing when it happens.